Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Miniature Horses and Carolot Farm. We are quickly approaching the middle of May. It's so hard to believe. We have recently started feeding Rocky a little bit of grain. So I now have 2 buckets. It's time to feed everyone. You can see that Sweetheart is waiting for me at the gate. Rocky is not far. He's catching on quick. So that's a little bit of an update, right? We're feeding Rocky a little now. I felt he was just a touch thin coming out of winter. And because he will soon start going to horse shows with a 4-H student, I did want to go ahead and just give him a little extra to eat, just to make sure he doesn't fall off. It is a little stressful for him going off the farm, and I recognize that. So we're giving him right now about a 1/4 pound of Triple Crown Senior. It's the same feed that Sweetheart gets. And so, he's doing very well. He seems very happy with that. It's not much more than a handful, but it's just a little something. And we might slowly increase that as we move closer to the summer and he starts doing a little more. The garden is looking really, really great these days. We had a critter that came about a week ago and things have rebounded, I'm happy to say, quite nicely. The sun is shining right now, which is lovely. However, we have days of rain heading our way. So I'm going to feed everyone this morning. I'm going to check on the garden, and then I have some pre-rain prep that I'm going to try to do today. So fingers crossed I have enough time. But first things first, it's feeding our friends. Rocky knows it's time. I'm going to go help him out. Little Shenanigans is really wanting to come in here, but I'm going to go help Rocky in and open the gate for Sweetheart, because she definitely knows the routine, and Rocky is certainly figuring it out as well, but he has some little friends that would like to join him. So I'm going to go open the gates up. I have put just a very small flake of hay out for Shenanigans and Snuggles to share, and we have Rocky and Sweetheart now in the feedlots eating. Again, they figured it out. They know it's breakfast time. But because we do have this rain coming, and I want to say it's supposed to start 1 o'clock today, I really don't want to put much hay out. One of the things I'm actually hoping to do today is to get my rake and rake up some of the old uneaten stemmy hay and add that to the run-in, because let me show you there. The run-in I stripped last week. It had gotten real mucky at the bottom, which wasn't surprising. I knew that would happen, but I went ahead, I stripped it, I sprinkled it with some limestone, I think it was granulated limestone I used. I didn't have the powder to help with the ammonia and kind of balance out the pH some. But I went ahead and I re-bedded this run-in yesterday in preparation for the rain that's coming. I know it's gonna rain. We're gonna maybe even get 1.5 inches plus over the next couple of days, which is a lot of water. It's a lot of rain, which will then translate to a lot of standing water here on the farm. We have red clay soil, and so it takes a really long time for significant rain like that to really penetrate and sink in. So because I know that this run-in is going to get really, really wet and super, super soggy, I'd like to go ahead and put as much dry kind of leftover hay as I can to help kind of raise that level up off the wetness that I know is going to be below that. So that's what I hope to do this morning. And there are a few other little things, like the water troughs are a little dirty. I'd like to scrub them just because with it raining over the next couple of days, I won't really want to be out here scrubbing troughs in the rain. So I'd rather scrub them before the rain, and then everything will just be nice and clean and ready to receive more water. So you can see we still have all of this storage stuff here. The horses cannot access this side. It's all secured and put away, but it's a little messy. I do need to close up my hay barn, and then closer to the middle of the day when the rain is set to start, I will probably put a little more hay in the front stalls for the horses, and that way it doesn't get rained on. They seem to waste a lot more hay when it gets rained on, so the more I can keep the hay dry, the more likely they are to eat it more thoroughly. So I'll come back out closer to lunchtime to do that. These guys are going to finish up real soon, and then I will turn them out, and then I have a little picking to do, but not too much. So busy morning, but a good morning. The sun is shining. Rocky only gets, I told you, just a very small little handful of grain right now. And so he scarfed that up pretty fast. It's good to see he had a good morning appetite. And I'm gonna open the feedlot here, so if he would like to come out, he can. He can come on out and have some hay with Shenanigans and Snuggles if he'd like. So I'll leave the gate open. Rocky has so thoroughly enjoyed his breakfast, he is thinking about helping himself to a little bit of Sweethearts, and I guarantee you that's not going to go over well. So I'm going to help him out of her little gate area, and in the future I will keep her door locked because she's not one to want to share. You know, Rocky was not feeling well on Friday, so the fact that he is a little more up to, normal young pony antics is a good thing, a very good thing. He's feeling much, much better. We think he was having a mild bout of gas colic, but the vet came out, checked him out, and he's doing really well now. So happy to report, Rocky is all better. You can see Sweetheart here is still partially shedded out. Her shoulder and her neck are nice and sleek. Even her hind end is getting a little shorter, even her underbelly, but she still has some shag around that midsection we need to work on. I think she's heading into the shade of the barn, perhaps. Maybe she's gonna nibble on a little hand there. We'll see what she's gonna do. Looks like maybe she's even just scratching herself on the door side. Snuggles is going to go investigate. What's she up to, Snugs? As I prepare for the rain that's heading our way, I'm going to start by picking the run-in. The horses have been using it since I rebedded it, and they do come in and they drop some piles. So I'm going to pick those few piles, and then I will head out to the field here and try to rake up as much dry, uneaten hay as I can. And then I'll just add it to the bedding to help raise the level so that when we get that rain and we have more moisture in here, the ground hopefully will stay a little drier. As I'm picking this back field here, I am noticing that we have a tree branch here. It's a very small tree. It's an oak though that is leaning out over the fence, and we'll probably want to go ahead and trim that off soon because, again, with the rain they're calling for, should we get much more wind, I imagine it's just a fallen tree that is kind of hung up here in some bushes, and I wouldn't want that to fall and then kind of short out the fence. I don't think it's heavy enough to actually take down the fence. It's a very small little oak, but things like this we do want to keep an eye on because we rely heavily on our electric fence to keep the horses from pushing against it or trying to like graze under or even like through it sometimes. So, if you see something like this, it's a good thing to go ahead and try to take care of sooner rather than later. I was mentioning to you this little oak tree that is kind of leaning out across our electric fence that we'll want to trim up. As I was inspecting the tree closer, I saw that we have some wild rose, a little hedge of wild rose that's growing up here. That's kind of fun to see. And what I smell that smells so sweet, at first I thought maybe it was the rose, but it's actually honeysuckle. We have a very nice stand of honeysuckle hiding back here behind this oak as well. So lots of fun things blooming down here on this bottom corner. But what I was really first inspecting was that branch that's leaning out over our fence that we'll want to clean up here. I've just finished raking up the old hay. There's one little pile here that was this morning's hay. But I've raked up all the old hay in this back field, and I have now put about 3, small wheelbarrow loads, but 3 loads of this old hay into the run-in. I'm going to spread this last one here. Now that I've finished with the run-in, it's got plenty more old hay to kind of help give that thicker barrier inside. So that's good to go. I'm going to now give the horses a few flakes of hay in the front stalls so that if they duck indoors during the afternoon showers, they can continue to nibble. And then sort of the last thing to do will be scrubbing the water troughs. And then I think we'll be all ready. Rain isn't a big deal, but when they're calling for multiple inches of rain, just knowing that that's going to kind of hang around and be really mucky and we'll have standing water, it just takes a little more forethought and planning as to like how best to get everyone situated. So rain's not a big deal. Rain is actually a very good thing this time of year. But it just means that we're going to go ahead and try to get a few more things lined up. So thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a great one. Hope you stay dry. Bye, guys.